Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
So, Bob.
Yes, Joy.
I have hair.
What up?
I have hair.
You have hair. I do too.
Good. So we have opinions about our own hair.
Uh-huh.
And the crazy thing is other people also have opinions about our hair.
I love your hair.
I like your hair when it's curly.
I think it's better when you have short hair. I don't really like it when it's long.
How come you don't straighten your hair more often? It's so pretty when it's straight.
You have curly hair. I'm so jealous.
I really liked the blonde hair. How come you changed it?
I really don't fucking care about you or your life. Hair. So, obviously, hair is something that people see because we don't cover it anymore.
We don't cover it anymore. It's attached to your head.
Yeah, so, I mean, some religions do, and that's perfectly fine, but others do not, and therefore it's up for any kind of comments or social commentary from people.
Oh, yeah. It's up for public consumption, and people want to have opinions about that which they consume.
They consume it. It's just, it's like, I imagine that Casey lays in bed at night and just wonders about what my hair is going to look like the next day so she can comment on it. Hey, Casey. I told you I'd use your name on the show, so.
Nice. Hey, Casey.
Yeah. Hey, Casey. She wanted us to use it in like a, okay, Brenda.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing, so.
We make dreams come true.
We do. That's what I'm here to make people happy.
That's not what you tell me usually.
That's not what anybody that's ever been with me thinks too. Okay, so hair.
Yes.
You are a black woman. And you have different hair from me.
I have different hair from you. And I have different hair depending on the day.
Right.
So there's also that.
And so therefore, as a white person, I feel less threatened when your hair is curly, but not afroed, or flat iron straight. I just want to give you that from a white perspective.
Okay.
Because I feel that black people don't pay attention to what white people want enough.
Well, you know what? I'll go back to the next meeting and I'll ask if we could work on that. just make things easier on you kind white people.
I feel that white people, I might be generalizing. It's not racist because it's white people, and white people can't be racist when you talk about white people. And I'm also white.
Right.
97.6% white.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I know what I'm talking about. But I feel like white people have, in general, more opinions on black people. Like whenever they see a woman with braids, like I have a friend, she has like, long braids, or it's her actual hair, it's all braided, and people are always like, oh, can I touch your braids? Or, how do I get braids like that? Change your ethnicity, which you can obviously do now in the world because we have the Rachel, whatever, the does of it all. But do you feel that white people constantly comment on your hair?
I do. I feel that in my personal experience, there are two groups of people who love to comment on my hair the most. One is white people. By far and away, they are winning the gold medal. And a very distant second place would be the man I'm in a relationship with. Because that's a whole.
Talk about that
yeah, put
later.
a pin in
Okay.
it. We'll come back.
Yeah.
Men you're in a relationship definitely have thoughts and feelings about hair too, as you shake your head. But it's so true. But yeah, so a lot of the comments are definitely things I've heard from white people. And it's always like so crazy. You couldn't appeal to everybody because everybody's got something different that they want from you.
Everyone feels differently, yeah.
Yeah. And I think part of it is people in general who just always wear their hair the same way. Most people are used to somebody, if you're wearing a feathered mullet, you wear it that way every day.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to the cashier at CVS.
That's right. Shout out to her. I wanted to, talk her up. But me, I change my hair very often. Not just with the season, but, daily. Part it here, put it up, twist it, whatever. And people always want to tell you what they think is the best hairstyle for you to wear every single day. I do not know why. I mean, people that aren't even, close friends.
Yeah, I don't understand that either because it's like, why does it even matter to you? Yeah, it doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't. I think
Or it shouldn't.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't matter to anybody else what I do with my own body.
But I mean, there are still rules. Some places still have rules that black people cannot have afros. I mean, that I don't know particulars about it, but I've heard of that recently, that's still a thing.
Yeah, there's
And-
definitely, and then there's just even thoughts whether or not it's a written or quote unquote real practice. It's still a real practice
still a real
where
practice.
it's like, you know, there's still the rules. You don't go to a job interview with your hair a certain way and whatnot because you will be judged on it. And, you know, which is also crazy because it's like what my hair looks like has nothing to do with my ability to do my job. But-
No, I mean, what would even be? I don't know. I don't want to try to understand that because it would hurt my head more. I feel to understand why those laws exist.
But now you putting a pin in me for a second,
Oh.
and we'll circle
I will
back
later.
around.
I have a doll under my bed.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You experienced some of that too.
Well, I experienced it from the perspective of I change my hair color quite frequently. Not so much anymore as I used to, but everyone has that shade that they want my hair to be. Be like, remember when you had your hair like fuchsia back in 1996? I really liked it when your hair was like that. It's like, really? I mean, or somebody would be like, oh, I don't recognize you without green hair. I'm like, okay, so I had green hair. I had green hair multiple times, but more recently, what was three or four fucking years ago? It was 3 years ago. It was when I was 40. I'm not gonna date myself or anything, but I had neon green hair, and people would see me on the street and be like, I didn't even notice you because you didn't have your neon green hair. And it's like, well, I've talked to you for the past 3 years since I didn't have green hair. So I've had pink hair, blue hair, yellow hair, blonde hair, gray hair, no hair, long hair, short hair. But you still don't recognize me
Yeah,
from that one time 3 years ago. I don't understand it.
I don't either. All I can say is it's because I found the one that I like, and you only exist when you do the thing that I like.
Oh, yeah. So
Get on that and please your audience there, Bob.
I will, if I had time to please everybody, I'd have sore wrists and a sore jaw, but I'd also,
Bisexual.
but I'd also be snatched bald because my hair follicles would fall out.
You cannot take the sheer bleaching of
And
it all.
I'm currently enjoying the fact that I am 43 years old and I'm not bald.
Yes.
So-
And have a beautiful hairline that is not receding.
It's always been there. I have my little tiny bit of vitiligo there. You can't really tell because I'm pale anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I'm currently living in that truth.
Now, I do feel that there's another subset of people who, like men, I will say, who get like certain criticism but only on a smaller scale, but they get it like how women get it, which is men who choose to have facial hair. And I'm talking about like
Yeah.
extreme facial
hair.
Because I have a friend who has the world's longest beard, and it's, you know, it's like
ZZ
coarse
Top.
hair. It's kind of like ZZ Top. It's coarse hair. It's curly. And he gets so many comments. Like, I've been out with him times, and people always want to have something to say about, when are you going to cut that beard? Or when are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And he's like, I ain't, you know, and people just,
Well, people
the
feel
audacity of
it's
you
completely
choosing.
unsanitary, like you don't wash your fucking beard. Like, that's the first thing. I think people don't feel like you don't wash your beard. Because it's like, beards are back. I mean, obviously, like every 30 years, beards have a run. The 70s, they had a big run. They're having a big run now. I mean, in the 90s, people had soul patches and goatees and all that. But right now, the bearded man with the 50s greaser haircut is
Yes.
the most fuckable person on earth to most people. But they still want to have that comment on, like, did you get food in your beard? Like, it's, I don't know. Obviously, you're going to get food in your beard.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, because listen,
If you ate food with your dick, you'd get food in your pubes. So, I mean,
but as long as, you know, the person with the beard isn't serving you your food or anything, then what difference does it make?
So speaking of beards,
Because I'm your beard. Is that what we're going to...
well, relationships.
Oh.
That's what I was going with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of relationships, as a heterosexual woman, I will say that men that I've been in a relationship with always want to have some kind of opinion about what I'm supposed to do with hair. And so I know I'm not the only one. I'm just going to say men in general like to tell women what to do with their hair. Like, well, if you really loved me, you would straighten it more. Or how come you don't? Like, there's just all these ways to say, like, it's just so pretty when it's straight, which implies that it's not pretty when it's curly. It's like, well, I'm sorry for wearing it the way it comes out of my head.
But it looks better when it's blah.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like,
Do you want me to give you the in-depth psychology behind that?
oh, please do.
Men can't change. So if you go to any small town in the world today, you will see anybody in their mid-20s, 30s, 40s, 50s still dressing the exact same way they did their senior year in high school. They can't leave the nostalgia. That's the best time of their life. So if they never have anything exciting ever happen in their life, there's no change. There's no evolving. Men like the nostalgia of it. So I feel that when men meet you, your hair is a certain way. Where did that accent come from?
Don't know.
Your hair is, I can't even do it again. Damn it. I'm high on Claritin. Your hair is a certain way, and that's what they want from you.
Yeah.
At all times. Because people, I mean, that's, I don't know. I've seen abusive relationships where that's the truth. Like, you cannot change your hair from the way it was the day I met you.
Or there's certain hairstyles that are supposedly off limits too. I've dated more than one person who told me I don't do braids. I'm like, well, nobody's asking you to braid your hair. You know what I mean? Like,
Motherfucker, what does it matter to you?
I'm just saying. I think that men sometimes want to live in this magical world where hair doesn't require any maintenance. There's nothing you have to do to you lay down, like in the movies, like you lay down and it's flat and beautiful and you wake up, it looks the same way. It's like, that is untrue, sir. In the middle of August, with humidity and heat, if I lay down to bed with straight hair, when I get up, let me tell you, it's going to look like Raggedy Ann or something. It's going to be humid. It's going to be twisted. My hair is trying to return to its natural state.
I mean, you're also dealing with guys who have the closest fade possible. Like, their hair.
That's the thing. It's always people with no fucking hair.
No hair. So, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, if you're bald, I think that's fantastic. I personally think if you're bald, you should just go bald and let it happen and just look it. Because I think bald men who have gone bald and shaved their head, that's pretty hot. So just let it happen. But, like, you don't get to have an opinion on something that you don't have to take care of. Unless he's brushing your hair, which I find creepy.
I bet you would.
And I'll put it out there. This is the way I find it creepy whenever people brush other people's hair. Not your children. Do your children's hair. We don't need those rats in the streets. But my father, we'll go deep on this.
Let's go deep.
Hey, Pops. No, you're not listening because you don't even know what technology is. But my father has had long hair his entire life. And it's all the way in the middle of his back. And I've watched his significant others brush his hair, and it just makes me want to vomit. Literally, it just to me is like the epitome of a subservient woman is brushing this guy who has a Samson like complex, and brushing his hair because his hair is his identity, and you're like, I don't know.
Yes, it's true. It's funny that you mentioned Samson because I've had people mention and speaking with love about my departed father about the woman's hair being her crown and whatnot, and like, so you shouldn't cut it for that reason. Excuse me while I roll my eyes all the way into the back of my head.
I mean, but the same people don't have beards down to the middle of their chest anymore. Like, you can't. I mean, that's a whole show we won't get into because we'll probably offend some motherfuckers out there. But picking and choosing your religion is in the top of my hate list.
I know. But we're not in the hate today. We're staying on the hair. So
Hair.
Hair. Hey.
Hey, hair.
I have one more thing about men telling women what to do with
Put
their
a hairpin in it.
Yes, which is I've heard some women say, "Well, if he's going to pay for it, he can tell me however the heck he wants to wear it." Which you can't see this, kids, but Bob just rolled his eyes into a back bend, so it's how extreme it was.
It's a deep roll.
It is a deep roll because let's just get to the reality of the fact that that's never. First of all, it's never going to last, and secondly. You still don't get to tell me what to do with my own hair.
No.
Because it's like the idea that you're going to pay for me to go to a shop is cute. Who's going to maintain it on the daily?
You can still pay for it.
You're welcome to do that.
Welcome
to pay for the
it.
style that I want.
Right. But I mean, that's something, if that is something that some people are tied to their appearance of their hair, and they have to have their hair a certain way, and they have to go. I was in the salon business for 5 years, so that's a massive industry.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't give a shit and can go and get like a $7 haircut. And that's the motherfuckers who are telling people how they should have their hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because why, if you don't care, should you care about the woman's hair? Or other person's hair? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's like this this idea of the person that you want on your arm, or when I go out,
Yeah.
I need you to look a certain way,
It's no different than weight.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You want somebody to be the way they looked when you met them, and you want them to stay that way
Or
forever.
your ideal, because sometimes it's not even the way they look when you met. Yeah,
what they could possibly look like, what you can mold them into.
Exactly. This is my project. Like, I like you, I want to be with you, but I want to be with the version of you that I want. Like, but maybe you don't really want to be with me. It's kind of how I feel,
I feel those people wouldn't work well in a Fiona Apple relationship.
No.
Hey, Fiona.
Hey, Fiona.
Love ya. We are very similar human beings, me and Fiona Apple. So I just feel that's something you couldn't go and tell her.
Mm-mm.
Like, and there's certain people, there's definitely women I know that would not go for anybody telling them. But then I do know women who bleach their heads every month constantly because that's what their husband likes. Their husband likes their hair to be blonde.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't know that you had roots and that you had a different hair color when they met you. So you can never be a natural person. You can never have like gray hair. You have to constantly bleach your hair out. I understand it. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here for it.
But I guess, again, that's a choice that somebody else gets to make. We don't have to approve of it. If you want to agree to that kind of insanity,
Yeah.
you're allowed to.
Yeah. I don't know if there's an amount of money that would make me want to be that way, though.
No.
Like, comfortably.
No, your personality doesn't say that you could ever do that. So.
My head does not say go. Anyway, so what's the worst thing that you, yourself, Joy, you, yourself, and you chose to do to your hair? The worst thing you've ever done, and you were like, oh my God, I can never do that again.
Well, I've done multiple horrible things that I could never do again. But, I'm torn between the time that I singed it all the way off, or when I was first getting hair color, and I was getting, that's what I'll say. I was getting cheap hair color at a hairstyle that will remain nameless to protect the guilty. And I was getting blonde taken out of my hair. I don't know how this person managed to do it, but the next thing you knew, I had half of my head was this horrible dookie brown color, and the other half was like a violet, almost black, like just so black. I don't know what this person did. It was an absolute nightmare, and I sat in the chair and I thought I was going to cry. And I was really young, so I didn't know any better. And I remember I actually also paid for that. I know, I paid. I was so devastated. I didn't even know what to do with myself. I actually handed over money. I would not ever do that again. I would never give my hair over to somebody who I don't know can actually color.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It would have been better if it ended up in the bowl. So, Bob, what's the worst thing you've ever done to your hair?
Well, the worst thing I've ever done to my hair was forced on me.
Okay.
It was a situation I did not want to be in. No, I chose it, and I regret it.
Uh-huh.
And I regretted it 5 minutes after it was done.
All right.
And if you're listening, I'm not talking about the party hat haircut you gave me, Rebecca, but that's a joke. But one time on my way to a friend's birthday party, I stopped by a hair salon, and they were all giving each other hair extensions for a party.
Lovely.
And so they decided they were going to give me hair extensions before I went over to this party for my friend's birthday. Hey, Makiba. And so they ended up dyeing my hair to match the extensions. And I had short hair, and I ended up getting hair almost the exact length I am now. So it was not as wavy as, because I have a white trash wave. For those at home that know what I'm talking about, shout out to the white trash wave. But because it was a hair extensions, it was extremely like straight.
Oh God.
So I just looked like some emo fat kid, and it was black,
Oh no.
and so it was horrible. And so then I went over to my friend Makiba's party, and my friend Makiba is a black woman, and then my friend Netta was there, and she was like, "Did you let white people put tracks in your head?"
It just called all the way out.
And I was like, "No, that's my hair." And she was like, "Shut up." She's like, "You got the same hair as that girl over there." Like, you can tell, because she Netta does hair. So I immediately felt the guilt.
And the guilt and the shame.
I mean, it's not as horrible as getting dreadlocks,
Yes.
but
Thankfully, you've never done that.
no, I would never. And so the next morning when I woke up, they dyed my hair with semi-permanent hair color. So I had like reddish brown hair with black
Oh
weave coming out of my head.
no.
So I literally sat there and like pulled, because I like pain, pulled all the glue tracks from my scalp out of my head.
I can't. There's so many layers to that story.
It's
Starting with,
horrible.
why did you need to pull them out? Like, you couldn't have just
I could have set conditioner on them for a long period of time, and then
and done it the unpainful way? Did you need to
Yes.
torture yourself for your bad decision?
yes, I needed to pay for my sins.
Self-flagellation.
Yeah.
It's in a new form. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah. That was. But I love that you got called out immediately. about it.
Immediately.
Just-
Well, I mean, it's obviously you can tell when a white person has tracks in their head because our hair lays differently, and it just looks like we have big bumps under our head. It was stupid. It was stupid. Should not have done it. It was 2006. It was
Listen.
August. It was 12 years ago. I think I'm over it, but I'm not quite.
Might not be. Listen, we've all done it. I've had so many bad hair stories. I've cut my own bangs horribly. Like, I lifted them and then cut them,
Oh.
which I didn't realize when you lift hair and cut people.
Yeah, because you
especially if
think
you're not a
because
hairstylist.
hairstylists
Because
do
hairstylists
that because they're
do
looking
that.
from a different angle.
I know, and they just started falling like the bangs, so they turned into layers, unintentionally, and the shortest layer being a half an inch of hair, basically, and it just continued from there. And this was the time in the early 90s when people were still doing that big bang to the side, like the Lisa from Saved by the Bell bangs.
Yeah,
You had to
Lisa
curve-
Turtle.
Yes. And I just,
Mall bangs is what they were called, I believe.
it took so long to grow that little half inch out.
But then, therefore, you were about 8 or 9 years ahead of the bitch bangs, which came in the early 2000s, where everybody had those horribly
Yes.
short bangs.
Yes.
And I mean, some people could pull it off, but there was one person that could pull it off.
It's a very rare face.
And so then the rest of the world that was still doing it with those spiky back spikes out of the back of the head.
Yes.
Oh. 2000. The lesson is, children, never cut your own bangs unless you are completely aware, in which at that point I would think you'd want to check yourself into a hospital and consider your life choices. The place I worked had free bang trims
Yes.
halfway between your haircuts
Nice.
because people would call in. If I don't get my hair cut, I'm gonna cut my own bangs. Like that was the threat always.
That's the SOS call.
Yeah, it totally is. It'd be like, I'm gonna cut my own bangs if I can't get in. So, yeah. So there was free bang trims because of that.
That's amazing. It's like we recognize the help that you need.
Absolutely.
Come right on down to Hair Convenient Care.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, it takes like what, 10 minutes to do it. But
Exactly.
you want someone to, because you want your haircut to look like the same haircut. I mean, women definitely is different than men. Men can grow their hair out and you can have different stages. You can cut your hair short and it still looks pretty good until you get about 3 or 4 months in, and then you gotta start like doing something with it. But women, your hair starts growing, your hairstyle starts changing, your bangs get a little longer, especially if you have a bang-driven haircut. Mm-hmm. And I think we're done with bangs.
We're done with bangs. I have another helpful hint for the kids at home, though. Please, by all means, do not ever flat iron hair that is not fully dry, okay?
Ooh,
And
burn.
also make sure you use the appropriate temperature. I don't know if you remember Golden Hot brands,
Yeah.
which I know they still make,
Mhm.
but nonetheless, I haven't used it in a lot of years. My hair is so fine. I should not ever use Golden Hot. But nonetheless, I grew up when flat iron combs went on the stove, okay? So
Right.
this was a step up. It was an electric version.
Back in my time.
Back in my day. And I was using that on hair that wasn't fully dry because, of course, I was young and impatient. Ain't nobody got time for fully drying. Singed it all the way off, boys and girls. Singed it off. And you just smell the frying, the burning of it all. And then you just have no choice but to watch as it
Falls
falls
to the
ever so
ground.
sad into the sink or whatever. Just
Yeah,
don't do it.
Just don't do it. Flat irons are made for dry hair. Mm-hmm. Period.
Done.
I mean, because you don't iron your wet clothes, right?
You don't. Not usually. I hope you're not.
I mean,
I guess you could.
why would you?
I don't know. Why would you iron, period, is how I feel.
Oh, yeah. That's polyester city, baby.
But that's my laziness talking.
So,
Now, do you feel that there's ever a time when one can tell another person what to do with their genital hair?
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think personally that you should not tell anybody what they should do with their body. What, you're waiting for, like, but
I mean, it sounded like that was
it's a
going
pain in the
around.
ass to pick pubic hair out of your teeth. I mean, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I feel like if it doesn't go near your face, then you should have no comment whatsoever, right?
Right.
If you're not down there putting work in, then you should not have any kind of conversation about their pubic hair. So if you're just straight up, keep your mouth above the waistline, sunshine, and like don't go down there, then you don't have a bitch. You don't have nothing to say.
Right.
You don't get to. So if you don't go down, get the fuck out of the conversation. But I don't know.
But if you're about to go under construction, then
I think personally,
you can make a request.
I think personally, it doesn't matter the style. Me and my friends pranked a gas station with this line from a porno once that said, "I didn't realize that pubic hair could be styled in so many different ways." And so we would call gas stations and play that over and over again. We just thought it was hilarious. But I don't care what your pubic hair style is. I care that you wash it.
Oh, yes, please. That goes without saying.
Because just if you stop at where the penis is, that's not fully clean.
Yeah, I got you.
How about you?
I don't even know if I have an opinion anymore.
Really?
But yes, no, I do think if you're going to put in work, request.
And remember that to be beautiful and natural is the birthright of every woman. And I wish you all loads and loads of loveliness and good luck.